Okay, so I had this idea because I'm trying to come up with things for people to do in terms of 3D modeling. And I was looking around my desk and I was like, rocket ship, of course, that's perfect. And I know you might be thinking this is a giant leap from going from a nameplate to a rocket ship, but really they're fairly similar in complexity. At least the way I'm going to try to do this. Now, if you're watching this, you can skip to the end of the video to see what the final image is going to look like. Or if I think of it, I will put it in the thumbnail and not some stupid picture of me holding something. I don't know. But so this rocket ship, I'm thinking simple. I'm thinking sort of a main fuselage, which is going to be a cylinder with a point on it, and then I want a couple of fins around the outside of this rocket ship. Now, this is going to have us use tools that we haven't used yet, and that's going to be fun. I think. This is kind of cool because it's a rocket ship. So I'm going to make a new sketch. This is just a new blank document, and I'm going to make a new sketch. I'm going to put it on the right plane, and then I'm going to look at the right plane. Now I'm going to imagine cutting a very simple rocket ship in half, and I'd have sort of I'm going to pretend this is like the center line of it, and I'm going to give it sort of a point, and then I'm going to go down. Now I want this to be level with that, and in order to do that, I can hover over that dot and move it back. Now it's going to constrain itself to be even there, and I've got the vertical line there, so I know that's up and down. And now I can come straight across. It's perpendicular. It's giving me the little symbol there, and that is the shape I want. Now, what that is it's half of this kind of pencil-shaped rocket. I do want this to be a little bit bigger because I did this a couple times in practice, and I didn't like it. I thought it was like kind of this kind of lame little rocket thing. So maybe I'll make this 4. Now the exact dimensions and angles of all this doesn't have to be the same as mine for my students who are doing this. And just to get this back to center, I'm just going to click on that, and that does a good job at getting it so I can see everything again. All right, so here we have half of a rocket if I was looking at it from the side for the main body, the fuselage. And I think that's all I need for right now. So I'm going to click the checkbox, and then I will click on a corner on the navigation cube, and now I'm back in 3D space. So moving over, we have the second tool on the menu here. It's called the Revolve tool, and it's going to involve clicking 2 different things. I'm going to select a solid surface, and so I'm clicking faces and sketches, regions to revolve. So basically, click on something flat. So I'm going to select the flat thing I just drew, that shape, and then the revolve axis. It's going to be what am I going to spin this around to make this into 3D. So rather than pulling it from a 2-dimensional object into the 3rd dimension, I'm going to spin it around something and make it 3 dimensions. So there it is as a 2D object, but if I click on the taller line on what I just drew, it'll spin it around, and now it's kind of like a rocket thing. Yeah? I see a rocket. I don't know what anyone's talking about. So I can say okay because I have this really shiny, look at that sheen on it. I have this really shiny rocket, and it's gonna need some fins. I realize I teach stuff with aerodynamics and aircraft. I feel like I need fins. This is gonna be a highly accurate aircraft. I can tell right away. I need to make a second sketch, and I'm going to put this second sketch because this is going to be my first fin. I'm going to put this second sketch on the right axis, or the right plane, and I'm going to do some weird things to make this happen, but try it, and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to make, like, a fin's kind of like a triangle, but I want this to be one of those cool rocket ships that has the like point of the rocket, like fin going down. And I'm actually going to draw inside of this area. And I'm only drawing on the Sketch 2 piece of glass, which if I cheat and kind of look over here, is located like right down the middle of that object. So if I go and try to draw this, I'm gonna go like here, and then this is my really cool like point. So it's like a rocket fin. It's gonna go, I don't know, up, and then maybe like in, but I want it to be lined up with that. So I'm gonna go down, I'll hover over it, I'll bring that back up, and I will put it right there. So now I gotta go down and finish it so it turns a different color. Perfect. And if you're one of my students looking for exact dimensions, you don't need exact dimensions. We are going to kind of go by look on this. So I would love to see all these different types of rockets. And if you're not one of my students, post on Twitter. I want to see what people come up with. So basic fuselage now has this kind of cool looking fin, but it doesn't exist in three-dimensional space. See how it's just 2D? So I'm still in my sketch. So I'm going to say I like how that looks. I'm going to hit the checkbox. And now I'm going to do an extrusion, but I'm going to do something a little different with my extrusion. So let me show you where the way I was doing it isn't going to work this time. So normally, or before, we hit extrude, I clicked on the shape, and I was like, yeah, that's good enough. There's our name plaque. Let me rotate this a little bit. So it's not centered down the middle of my rocket, which I don't like. So I want it to go the other way too. So the way it works on this extrude panel here is if I click second end position, it's going to extrude it in both directions. And I can choose the distance that it goes. So I'm just going to choose like, I don't know, 0.1. Let's see what that looks like. Do that, 0.1. Okay, I can live with that. That's cool. So it's got enough thickness so it's like an actual object and it works with our kind of toy setup. Now I'm going to click the checkbox. So it's an actual 3D object. Perfect. I've got one fin. Now, continuing on, and also that one fin, see how it's like right down the middle? Beautiful. Now, continuing along the thought of kind of keeping things around the circular middle here, I want more than one fin, but I don't want to draw that more than one time. It's inefficient. I'm lazy. I'm tired. It's late. I already worked all day, but that's just me complaining. But let me put more fins on my rocket ship like a real adult. Okay, so we did extrude. We did revolve. I'm going to jump down a little bit here. And this right here, it may look like that just by default. No, I don't want to do that. I was just showing something. So if I hover over here, this might say linear pattern, and I don't want to create a linear pattern. We're actually going to jump down and talk about a circular pattern because it's going to work so much better for this example. Okay, so now I'm back because I did something that I didn't realize was a thing. So one of the interesting things about what happened when we built that on the inside there, it now considers it all one part, one thing. And I want to just copy that fin. So I'm going to do this next step using a couple of different things. And the next tool I'm going to introduce is this circular pattern. And the circular pattern, like I said, might look like the linear pattern, but when you first get to this menu, but you're going to select the circular pattern. So I'm going to try to select this fin, but the problem is you see how everything's getting gold pattern or gold selected. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is by default, it's going to ask you to do, it's going to make new copies of the whole thing, but I don't want to make a new copy of everything. I just want it to add anything to it that's not already there. So if I did new, it would make copies of this cylinder on the middle, but if I hit add, it's just going to make copies of the fin. So I'm going to select it. So I selected it for the entities to pattern, and then I will do the axis of pattern so I can click on it, and I will click on the fuselage in the middle, and it's going to rotate it. And honestly, I think 3 fins looks cooler. So I'm going to do 3 fins, and it's going to space them equally around it. And then I can say checkbox, because now I have 3 fins. If you happen to not, like if I went back to circular pattern, if you didn't change new to add, it would look the same, but what would happen with the actual 3D model here is it would have multiple copies of the main cylinder, which I'm not sure if it would understand that when I 3D printed, but just in terms of keeping this clean, we didn't really want that. So that's why I hit new. But there you go. There is a rocket ship using 2 different circular tools. We used Revolve and we used circular pattern. If you like this video and have ideas for other things that I could try to draw in this program that I'm just learning now for the first time, please let me know. But don't pick anything too hard, because like seriously, this is weird and new to me. So, and I'm also trying to teach it at the same time. So, you know, be nice. Anyways, have a wonderful day, folks. And I'm going to go to bed. It's late. My cat fell asleep.